Aloha. How's it?
It doesn't get any better than that. Yeah. Makana is here in studio, Hawaii recording artist that just takes this into different areas in the stratosphere. So thank you for being with us.
It's good to see you, my brother.
It's been wonderful because, well, it's been a long time. I started the live stream 2 years ago, and you were one of my first guests.
Those 2 years are a black hole for many people.
And then you released the album with a whole bunch of just wonderful music that was just like a soundtrack.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
With what Waikiki in it. And
that was called a Hawaii Interlude. I forgot about that.
yes, that was a wonderful. I still use that when I go to places and play music and stuff like that.
Awesome.
So, welcome to the show. You've got new music and you are playing live where people can see you and say hello. And so that's wonderful.
Yeah, this new album that I just released, it's called Pūlama, Legacies of Hawaiʻi. And this is one of those albums that harkens back to my roots. I would say the closest thing I've done, because people ask me, how many albums have you done? I have no idea at this point. But in 2003, I did a traditional slack key album called Kiho'ala Journey of Hawaiian Slack Key.
Remember?
Where I honored a lot of the masters that came before me. And I also showcased my own emerging style. In this album, it's kind of like Kiho'alu too. It's honoring all of these heroes of mine that influenced me, from George Helm to Dennis Kamakahi to Gabby to Sonny, Uncle Raymond, Led Ka'apana, all these different musicians, the Casimeros, Peter Moon. But also it's very dear to my heart because it's in the Legacies of Hawaiʻi, it's also honoring the legacy of my parents who both passed away during the pandemic. So this is a profound expression of love, this album is. And the whole album was recorded in one session without any edits, no overdubs. It's totally opposite of the record that you were talking about. That one was a very fancy
Professional.
record.
It was just, there was everything from strings to just different genre.
Beats and all these things. This record is totally honest. It's just the kika and the ukulele and my voice, nothing else. No edits, nothing. So it's just totally from the heart.
Wow. Okay, so this is what the album looks like if you want to find it. So they can get the hard copy like this?
So the hard copy is available at shows, or if you email me a very nice email. I sometimes have friends that help me mail them out. It's available as a download on the website, makanamusic.com, and then on all the streaming platforms.
Wow. Talk a little bit about the songs here. I'm going to ask you, because I have not heard this yet. I've just gotten this into my hands. There's a song, the very first song is Waika.
So Waika was my mom's favorite hula. You know, it's a classic that the Casimeros recorded, and it's taken from the chant Hole Waimea. And it really, ironically, speaks to her life, the lyrics of that unrequited love. And so it's profound. There's a lot of kauna in the record. The slack key songs I did are songs I grew up with. Silver Threads Among the Gold. This is an old Leonard Cohen classic that actually it's an American love song from the 1800s. It was like one of the first pop songs ever, but Leonard put it into slack key. So tributing him, Radio Hula, of course, Kalapana style, Pops, Gabby. Ale Koki is very interesting here. I did something that is kind of radical. I rewrote the music. I said, well, why would you rewrite the music to that song? A very famous song recorded by Dennis Pavao and all these people. There was a time in Hawaiian music, if you go back to the early 20th century, and it was really exploding in popularity around the world. It was kind of like the first world music craze ever. And so all of these people from the East Coast, they call it Tin Pan Alley, were influencing Hawaiian music. At that time, the sound was this American swing jazz pop sound. So today, when we think of Hawaiian music, we still associate that with the tradition. But if you go in and listen to the lyrics, read the lyrics, you realize, oh, this is a heavy song. Unrequited love of Luna Lilo and Kamamalu, and he's almost wailing of the pain and loss, the eha. So the music reflects that.
See that, and that's deep. That's really diving into the meanings of the song and where it comes from.
Totally, and you know, there's an essay online by Kihei De Silva. It's fascinating about this song. I didn't even read it until after I did this, but you know, it takes a lot of, I guess my mom, you knew my mom. My mom had this, I don't even know the word, chutzpah.
Yep.
to do things like this. But, part of my kuleana in Hawaiian music is recognizing that tradition is a living entity. Tradition isn't just about looking back and trying to mimic. And if we do that, I think we fail the tradition. The tradition has to breathe. It has to. And so looking back, and it's not about glorifying the past. It's about really loving the past. And so in some of the songs, I go back and I nourish them with a new energy. One of the songs that really is dear to me is inspired by George Helm, written by Helen Deshay Beamer, is Kimo Henderson Hula. So I did that, and I think that listeners who've been with me a long time will go, wow, his voice, because I've been taking lessons during the pandemic from Christian Lay, our very own Broadway star.
Right.
Amazing Filipino woman, and she has really, I've never worked with my voice in my life. It was always about kiho'alu. So I just want to honor her, and this record is very inspired by the work we've done.
Why Christian Lay? And I know her from both the personal and the professional points of view. And she is dynamic, and what she continues to do is amazing. But how did you find?
Well, we met
drew you to her?
a long time ago, and she was actually good friends with my mom as well, and I'm good friends with her family. But, I have been working on a musical for a few years. It's almost Pau. It's about Hawaii, and one of the songs is actually on this album. It's called Aloha Found. And all her experience of Broadway, and she works so well with Keiki.
Mm-hmm.
She works so well, and I'm a big kid, so we sat down on the FaceTime and we just started doing these coaching sessions, and it really affected my life in a profound way.
How did working on your voice, how did that change things for you? Just because I would have never have thought that you would be working on your voice, but it makes sense.
Totally. Well, I mean, I started my career in the Honolulu Boy Choir when I was like 7.
Right.
But your voice changes. And so then I met Bobby Madero, Raymond Kane, Uncle Sonny Chillingworth, became all my kumu. And this is a crazy story, but I realized, let me tie into what happened 2 weeks ago. Coming back from my tour toward the mainland, an incredible tour, haven't toured in 3 years. Open the guitar case. My treasured guitar, you remember, that was from Uncle Sonny, stolen, missing for 12 years, got it back. We did a whole story. Crushed. Totally crushed. So I'm looking at this and I'm like in tears, like this is my best friend. Process. Had to do 6 shows in 4 days on Kauai that weekend. Had to do Molokai, do all these things, and playing with this backup guitar. Realizing that I've been hiding behind the guitar my whole career. This is a profound thing. We look at artists as these icons, and they just pump out music. But artists are I think our real job is to be as human as possible. Yeah. And so we just happen to do it on a stage. And so for me, this process, and for my fans, letting them know that, like, wow, closing a chapter, but it's opening a very special new chapter with my Leo. So this record is the beginning of that. And where I'm going next, nobody can tell.
Wow. That's deep. So how do you feel after these experiences, and how do you feel now after having done this work on, you're always working on the guitar,
Hi.
but now you've worked on voice, you've developed a deeper understanding in yourself.
I have. It's been profound, like I said, with my parents passing away, and really so many people. We just played Bobby Madero's mom's services, and a year ago his father too. Grief has become part of my journey deeply, and what I tell people is, in the way I see the world, grief is the root of joy. If you can allow yourself to grieve, you can truly experience joy. But if you truncate that grief, you try to deny it, or just, we get busy in our lives, we do so much stuff, and it kind of like time moves on, and then you just kind of put those feelings away, a'ole, then you cannot feel all that Akua is trying to give you. So for me, this journey is really about that umeke is growing bigger and bigger. Like on the dark side, there's the grief, and then there's the joy. And that's in the music. You will hear this in the music.
Okay, once again, this is what the album cover looks like. Pūlama, Legacies of Hawaiʻi. Is this available online streaming?
Streaming online, Spotify, Apple, all that stuff, Amazon, and then CDs at the shows, and then on the website downloads.
Okay, so go search or go support.
MakanaMusic.com.
Thank you. That was also my next question. I do want to move to the fact that you are going to be, you had a thought.
No, we're going to talk about the show.
Performing. You've been on tour. First of all, you kind of touched on it. Talk about the tour for a little bit.
Oh, the tour was... So, I'm weird. Let's just put this out here right now. I'm very strange. I try to be as human as possible. What I mean by that is, like, so every show on this tour, I committed one thing to myself. I wouldn't do the same show. You said, why? Why? Because that's how much I trust my audience. When I walk out, I immediately start feeling, I don't care if it's like a spotlight in my face, it's pitch dark, I cannot see anyone. I start feeling the audience. Now, of course, I play some of the same songs from the album to share what I'm putting out, but the show is entirely different, and new songs every time, and new stories. Every show was totally different, and I'll tell you what. This is a crazy story, but I love my crazy stories. I'm doing a Mother's Day show, and again, my mom passed away, late 2019, right at the beginning of the pandemic. So I'm doing this show, Mother's Day. I'm really emotional. All these people brought their moms, and I get on stage. I did a sound check. It was so beautiful. I'm so excited. This venue in California sounds epic. When the sound is good, you get really excited to play.
Right.
Okay, start playing, and the sound is totally messed up. Like, the guy went change everything. It's just like, I can't even hear myself. So I went right to Haina, and, if the musician goes straight to Haina, it'll get on problem.
Right, yes.
So I go straight to Haina. I called a guy out right on stage. I never did this in my whole career. I said, "What, brah? What? Where you stay, brah? You let me come out there scrappy right now, brah? What? Brah, you would mess up my show, brah. Brah, right in front of the audience, brah. I just lost it. Never in my 30 years of performing." Okay, so I move on. Kind of energy is kind of like, it's kind of tense, So about 4 songs later, I have an epiphany. You know what, everyone? I gotta apologize. Ikalamai, that was unprofessional. I'm so sorry, Mr. Sound Guy. That was uncalled for. And I realized I was channeling my mom. If Billy remembers, my mom, who was Miss Waikiki, Miss Hawaii International, yes. She was a performer, right? And she was the ultimate stage mom. And God bless her. I wouldn't be here without her.
Exactly.
I love her. And this album is dedicated to her. But that was my mom. She would come on stage with her Zoloft and her champagne and just, grab the mic and just say any kind. And so at that point, what happened was so transformational because I told the audience, I said, you guys came here for Mother's Day show. You think that was going to be this whole, no, we're keeping it real. Like, we wouldn't be here without moms, but it's complicated. And by the end of the show, the whole place was crying. Like, we were all crying. It was so transformational. And so that's what I'm talking about is when you go on stage, yeah, you have a plan. You have a loose structure. You want to share certain things. But true performers, and this is something that from my generation and the generations before is we didn't grow up on YouTube. We grew up in front of people playing Dukes, since I was 15.
Right.
Pier Bar, Aloha Tower since I was 14. Roy since I was 12. And so that's the art form for me is going up and being transparent with the audience.
And it allows you to engage with them and have a conversation of not only music, but just something to walk away with as if you've had a personal conversation.
And that's what people walk away with is the stories, the emails I get, the messages, the DMs. It's like profoundly transformational. And that's what this album is about. We talk about Hawaiian music, right? And it's like, okay, it's beautiful music, but it's something more. And for a lot of the people who don't olelo, we have to try to reach them in a different way. And that's where I believe that Hawaiian music can heal the world. And this song on this album, Aloha Found, was inspired by Pilahi Paki, the kupuna who talked about aloha as being the answer to the world's problems. So she's a big inspiration here.
Coming up, you are going to be performing over at the Waikiki Aquarium, and they are opening the doors and having a public performance because they used to have Kekani o Kekai in the summer times, all the time. It was like once a month, but Those were concerts that were always packed, so they are doing that again, and you are going to be there. But it's not only you, as I understand.
So I'm opening the first one. This is on June 30th, Thursday, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Now, this is going to be really special. This is the closing of my tour for now until the fall. It's my only show on Oahu, and it is celebrating the release of this album, Pūlama, Legacies of Hawaiʻi. But I have many special guests. You're going to have to help me remember. Because
as a matter of fact, I've got the list right here. And as a matter of fact, yeah, we will put that into the description below so you can see it as well. I'm going to go through these and then just kind of...
It'll go better in your voice.
Briefly give me, a little bit of a description and thoughts on these special guests of yours. Kavika Kahiapo and friends.
Oh, yeah. This is my brother. And, this brother was the, he hosted at my mom's ceremonies. And what can I say about Kavika? Beautiful man. And brother Dean, who I'll be at playing for his family soon. These are true Hawaiians, bro. Love these guys.
Awesome. Bobby Madero Jr.
My kumu. Portuguese from Anaramara.
Yes. Awesome. Nina Keli'i Vahamana.
Okay. Well,
Okay, now we're talking about music Hawaiian royalty there.
Nina is my favorite. I love her so much. Just getting on the phone with her is a profound experience. She is just carries such class and grace. So always want to have her with us.
So she's singing, she's dancing.
Oh yeah, she's gonna
she's
sing,
doing whatever she wants to.
Whatever she wants to do, she will do.
Napua Greg, Kumuhula.
Napua Greg, who's about to embark on a beautiful tour of Japan with her halau. She has become a dear friend and colleague, and just, we have a beautiful connection. And I gotta tell you, we performed recently together on Kauai, tributing all of these legends of Ni'ihau and Kauai. And that tita, not tera, but tita.
Right.
That tita, I have rarely met someone who gives me a run for my money on stage with the microphone. So, I'm gonna try to keep her and Bobby and me and rotate us, not all at the same time, because it'll just be a cacophony.
That would be an overload of fun.
Totally.
Just saying. George Kuo. Wow.
So George Kuo, dear friend, incredible slack key guitar master. He was also a student of Uncle Sonny Chillingworth. And, I love George. His playing he's one of the last who truly, truly keeps alive the old styles. So it's going to be a joy to jam. Hopefully he'll bring his double neck.
The only times that I've seen him out, he always has that double neck with him.
Yeah.
And nobody plays it like him.
No. George is the man.
Lono. Wow. Okay. Now this goes, yes.
Yeah, this goes back. So these are my buddies, Lono Kamaiva and Lopaka Cologne. Lopaka Cologne, the Kanaka Rican, right?
Right.
So these are my boys that, we've been playing together, since I was like 17, 16, maybe 15. And we still haven't made a record. So it's rare. You got to catch us live. It's funny because Lono always says, I say, what, bro? You get together, practice, because we never see each other. And he goes, oh, man, then I got to see you twice. I say, oh, come on, bro. But you know what? Why we're so fresh is because we don't practice. The moment we get on stage, it's like explosions. So it's going to be good fun.
Okay, I can see that, yes. Kamana'o Haumea Thronus.
Oh, Kamaha'o.
Wow.
Okay, this boy, first of all, we share a birthday.
Really?
May 29.
Okay.
We're both Geminis, so there's many of us. And I just love this boy. He is a true gift. He is an incredible leo ki'e falsetto. He is olapa. He dances beautiful hula. And he's special. He is special.
It's a strange combination because he looks so young, fresh. He smiles, you smile, but he seems so older than his years.
It's almost like kupuna embodied in this keiki.
Right?
Yeah, it's beautiful. And we just did a podcast recently, and it's so fun. I gotta tell you, I'm looking for a protege, and I'm just putting this out there, to teach kiho'alu. I've been teaching for many years, but I haven't found the right protege. And so I'm just putting that out there because I want to make sure that all of these styles of kiho'alu live on. And, seeing kamaha'o really inspires me.
I'll come back to that in a moment. I'm going to finish up with a Kale'ai and More.
Yeah, so Kale is actually cousins with Napua, and he works for Hawaiian Airlines. And, we've seen each other for years on the flights, and just so happened to connect recently through Ohana, and beautiful guy, so invited him. And there's going to be all kind of other guests, so, you never know who else is going to show up.
You never know who's going to jump on stage and dance hula. And okay, there may be surprises. I just caught that. Thank you very much. Okay. And if you need more information, contact or go to the website for the Waikiki Aquarium, and they will get you hooked up with that. I do want to go back to what we were talking about, you and protege. Because as we were talking, I was thinking about how you started your journey with kiho'alu.
Aye.
Sometimes the kumu picks you.
Aye.
Sometimes it's the parent that just plops you down in front of somebody and says, he wants to play. And,
Or both.
Or both.
When I was 10 or 11, we attended well, let me go back. This is a beautiful history is Mike Buck, our good friend Mike Buck.
Yes.
He produced a show called Portraits of Paradise way back. He featured Raymond Kaleoloho Poina Oleo Hele Manu Kane and his protege, Bobby Modero Jr. I saw that. I was already learning ukulele from Roy Sakuma. I saw that and I was like, this is beautiful. I mean, I knew how special it was the moment I heard them play. So a couple months went by and there was the Kiho'alu Festival at Makoi Pavilion.
Mm-hmm.
We go there, sitting there on a lohala mats. They get up, play. Mom, no backstage pass. Just goes right backstage, grabs Bobby by the ear. He was 21, I was 11. Drags him down to our lohala mat and says, you are going to teach my son. And he was terrified. So he just said, okay, lady. Let my ear go, please. So as I started learning from Bobby, and learned from Bobby for 2.5 years, and learned all Uncle Raymond's style. Went to Uncle Raymond's house, played with him, learned from Uncle Raymond, and then met Uncle Sonny. Sonny was in remission from cancer. He shows up at a Slack Key Festival a few years later, and just as a surprise guest, we freaked out. Oh my gosh. Bobby had turned me on to his music. We loved Maki Ailona. That almost misplaced operatic voice. Walk backstage. Look up, and he goes, young man, I've been looking for you. And was the start of this beautiful journey. We were awarded a grant from the State Foundation on Culture and the Arts, and I became his last protege, and he passed away a year later.
Which kind of brings you back around to...
Aye.
Yeah. So...
Yeah, so much of my life has been dedicated to honoring these people. So much. And so... what June 30 at the aquarium is really about for me, it's not about me. It's about honoring their legacy by inviting so many friends who are part of that legacy, that ho'oilina. And that's why I wanted to be surrounded by all my friends, is because this is a community effort of keeping this beautiful tradition alive, whether it's mele, oli, hula, hakumele, leo ki'e, kiho'alu, ukulele, steel guitar, all of these different styles. It's like, this is our kuleana, and after this, get ready, brah, because I'm going to do me. I got so much music I've been waiting to put out of my own.
Okay, so in other words, the pandemic has been a place where you've kind of started to make, think, create.
Choke, brah, choke. Hundreds of songs. Ready to go. Yeah.
Okay. But don't wait for that. Go get right now, once again, Pūlama, Legacies of Hawaiʻi. There's what it looks like. And then, of course, go see him and support him. You are going out on the road, and you'll have that on the website, those when you go back out in the fall?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Everything will be out on the... And you know, there's a lot of exciting things happening toward the end of the year, but I'm headed out of the country to Latin America. I'm going to go study the roots of Kiho'alu with the vaqueros. And I heard, I'm going to Mexico and Chile. I heard that Chile has their own slack key. So I'm going to the universities and meeting with professors, and very excited to go back into the roots even deeper.
Researching, diving deeper into the culture and into the past, but bringing it forward. Makana, thank you so much. It is always, we share these stories whenever we sit together like this, and it's just amazing. I appreciate the thought and what comes from your na'o when you talk about music and things that are passionate, and that passionate connection with people. So continued success to you.
Mahalo nui. Mahalo nui. Aloha, everybody. Thank you.